Women are attending from the continent are attending the African Women in Dialogue conference. Let's go there live.
I said I am because every one of you sitting here, whether you're a farmer, whether you're a domestic worker, whether you're an activist or a journalist, or even a former president, as you sit here, you're an African woman. Yes. Oh, what a joy it is to be in this space with all these immaculate women that understand that there is no longer time for us to take the back seat. It is time for us to put up our hand and say, Africa, we are going to get you right. Africa, we are going to do what? We're going to get you right. And that's why we're here. It's a defiance of 1884. And we see each other as one. Thank you. I'm now going to call on Advocate Mlambo-Ngcuka. One of the things that the dialogue tries to do is we try and look at practical issues that are happening on the continent. So when we thought about our welcome address, we thought about this pioneer woman because she has practicalized Agenda 2063 when it says the aspiration by 2020, we are going to silence the guns. You will see when I read her credentials that she has done a lot of peacekeeping work, very much in line with the UN Security Council resolution of 1325. Ladies and gentlemen, a human rights giant who has participated in a lot of peacekeeping missions across the continent.
Hello, 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 hello. Let's keep the energy going, Jambo. Bonjour. Bon dia. Salam alaikum. Habari ya asubuhi. Ladies, we are here. Let's keep the energy going. Let's just stand up and really clap for ourselves. Come on. Let's stand up. We are here. I see you, Ethiopia. I see you, Burundi. I see you, Kenya. I see you, Nigeria. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. This is the energy that we are used to when women come together. Thank you very much. Mine is a very short intervention. This conference is about you. So let me start. Karibuni madada zangu. Msiwe na hofu lolote kwa sababu huku ni nyumbani kwenyu kama makao yoyote hapa Afrika. Bienvenue en Afrique du Sud. I am honored to welcome you to the 2019 edition of the African Women in Dialogue. On behalf of the trustees and the dedicated staff of the Zanele Mbeki Development Trust, who are permanently thinking about ways of improving the lives of African women throughout the continent and beyond. The African Women in Dialogue platform belongs to all of us. The usual rules of protocol don't apply here. As you heard, we are making and creating our own rules. You have already heard from the program director that there is no NGO, no government, no minister Nothing. We are all here, we own this platform. But it would be amiss of me not to acknowledge and recognize the effort, I said the effort, of our volunteer-in-chief, our biggest cheerleader, and the woman who has never taken her eyes, not once, off the cause of women's empowerment, Zanele Mbeki. Bienvenue à votre plateforme. La plateforme que nous avons créée vous appartient à tous. Nous espérons que vous l'utilisez pour libérer votre voix et exprimer votre pouvoir. Merci beaucoup de nous honorer de votre présence. Estamos muy contentes como vos visitar. This is probably one of the most important gatherings to take place, certainly in South Africa this year. We've brought together over 1,000 women from all 5 regions of the African continent to discuss challenges faced by African women and therefore by the continent as a whole. As you've heard, we hosted our first platform last year. Mainly participants from SADC attended and a few from outside SADC. It is not an easy undertaking to bring all of you together. You know how difficult it was. That's why I asked you to applaud yourselves. There were challenges. We have a very small team from the Zanele Mbeki Development Trust. We know there were challenges with visas. This country is not very friendly to us, all of us. There were challenges with transport. There are challenges still with communication. But we are so, so happy and excited that you are here. You made it. As I've said, we work with a very small team. But we depend so much on the many young people that have volunteered their time to be with us. I would like all the volunteers, wherever you are, to stand up or wave or something. All our volunteers. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We can never thank you enough. These young people give of their time free. Some of them have taken time off school and university to be with us and help us. I should say that as fate would have it, our team is a little weaker this year because just over 2 months ago, death robbed us of one who gave us so much energy, even as she was dealing with her own challenges. I ask that we please rise and observe a moment of silence in honor of our sister Tandine Lobu and all the others that we are not aware of that have passed. May her soul and all of the others rest in peace. Thank you. Our continent faces many challenges, ranging from poverty, underdevelopment, unemployment, and gendered social inequity. This bleak landscape exists side by side with an abundance of wealth in vast oceanic resources, innumerable precious metals in the inland, and for the most part, land that has never been farmed since the dawn of creation. This is exacerbated by the fact that some of our countries still face deadly conflict, which takes the lives of innocents and results in the displacement of civilian populations, mostly women and children, as we know. Especially noteworthy is that these conflicts are often started by men who are too old to do the fighting themselves, and in most cases, too secure to be personally affected by this conflict. For us, this underscores the need to pose difficult but necessary questions about, one, the formulation and practical implementation of policies for peace, governance frameworks that support and promote peace, economic development, and greater social justice, with Africa's resources at the center of the achievement of these goals. We have to ask difficult but necessary questions about the pedigree of leadership that the continent needs to achieve peace, governance framework for peace, economic development, and social justice. What kind of leaders do we need for that? And most of them are in this room. We have to ask the difficult but necessary question to affirm the women's voice as a catalyst for change. We have to ask those difficult questions about the overall coordinated role and African sisterhood, solidarity, we as women must discharge in this regard. This suggests that by the end of our 4-day meeting, we should come out with clear commitment towards the realization of the objective of an Africa free from hunger, wars, the waste and wanton theft of resources meant for her children. To a large measure, we do not need to reinvent the wheel, as much of the policy framework already exists. We know about the African Union Agenda 2063, we know about Resolution 1325, we know about the Sustainable Development Goals, so there is a framework that can guide us. But we as women, it is our duty and our right and our honor to shake that framework. As Bob Marley once said in his song, "Who feels it, knows it, Lord." As the majority of the citizens of our continent who bear the brunt of much of the problems of poverty and underdevelopment, we, the women, cannot but be central to the implementation of these policies and programs. We have to monitor their implementation or non-implementation, and we have to raise our collective voice, not only in protest at non-implementation, but at how the implementation must be undertaken for the good of the peoples of the continent. I want to say again, as we have heard already, no view is wrong or incorrect. No view. Please feel free to express yourself without self-censorship. If we express differences of opinion, as I'm sure we will, it is because we want to emerge with a view and a program which resonates with the experiences of the large majority of women across the continent and to impact positively on their lives. One cannot emphasize this point enough. Please, we are here to learn from each other and together to find solutions to common African challenges and problems which require many, many minds and many voices, especially the voice of women. When I attended my first SABC, the South African version of this, I was a little skeptical. You know, I come from a rural area, a little reserved, and then I chose the worst profession of all, law, which makes you very, very reserved. The good thing is that when I attended that first SABC meeting, I allowed myself to immerse myself in the process, I've never regretted that. I urge you to please immerse yourself in this program, all of it. You will not regret it. As I've said, we've tried our best to put together a very stimulating program. We will not be human if we did not make mistakes, and there will be, I hope there will be a few, not too many, but please bear with us. We have this amazing team of young people to look after you. I want to say, lastly, that we must remember that we are descendants of great warrior women. We are descendants of great warrior women. Taitu in Ethiopia went to war to protect the sovereignty of Ethiopia. Asantewa in Ghana went to war to protect the sovereignty of the Ashanti nation in Ghana. Queen Zinga in Angola went to war to fight for the safety and sovereignty of Angola. Queen Nandi in South Africa was the biggest strategist in the war against the colonizers in KwaZulu-Natal. We are descendants of great women warriors. Many others that I have not mentioned. So today and over the next few days, we must commit to going to war. We are going to go to war against war. 2020, we have to silence the guns by 2020. We have to go to war against poverty. It is so unnecessary. We have to go to war against underdevelopment. We have to go to war against patriarchy. We have to go to war against the double standards that are applied to women. Men get away with murder, literally. Men are not judged by the same standards that we are judged with. Women leaders are shamed about how they look, how they speak. And we have men occupying positions of leadership which they not only do not deserve, but they have no idea about what to do about that. We are descendants of warrior women. Let us take it upon ourselves. We have to exercise our own agency. We can't wait and say somebody else is going to do it. We have to do it. From our homes, from our communities, in the schools, in the parliaments, in government, we have to question these double standards. I want to thank the staff of the Thabo Mbeki Foundation. We operate on, I think, 4 members of staff, at most 5. I really want to thank them. Please give them some energy. They are exhausted. But they are still on their feet. And that energy would help them a lot. All I was asked to say is to say to you, welcome home. This is your home. Nobody must tell you anything else. Africa is our home, all of us. Now, I always say I'm going to end. I should say that, we bring ourselves into this room and into this conference. I will tell you one story before I sit down. Last year, we had a few challenges, but one of them just tells you about how we women bring ourselves into the space we occupy. So some of our sisters managed to smuggle some boyfriends into the rooms. and I remember people were like, oh my God, what's going on? I was like, well, it wouldn't be us if we didn't do that. So this is home. You are allowed to be yourself in your fullest glory. In your fullest glory. And it could be a boyfriend, it could be a girlfriend, it could be anyone. In your fullest glory. Ladies and the gentlemen who are just service providers today, welcome home. Welcome to South Africa. Shukran. Merci. Obrigado. Thank you. Asante sana.
You know, let me tell you something. 60% of the participants are grassroots women. Of that 60%, there's 50% of us that are youth. So when our keynote speaker stands up and cracks a joke like that, I don't know whether to laugh or pretend I didn't hear it. Thank you so much, Advocate. Please, ladies and gentlemen, join me now as we are going to play a short video from none other than the United Nations Under Secretary General and Executive Director of UN Women, Phumzile Mlambo-Ngcuka, who was also actually the only female and the first female to ever hold the Deputy President position in South Africa.
Greetings to all of you sisters in this African Women's Dialogue. Thank you so much to Mrs. Zanele Mbeki for facilitating this excellent convening for African women and for all the work that she has been driving, enabling women to dialogue within South Africa, but now even beyond South Africa. I want to highlight the fact that you are meeting on the eve of a very important year, 2020, where we will mark the 25 years of the adoption of the Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action. We will be marking the 20 years of the Security Council Resolution 1325, 40 years of CEDAW, and of course, we're just coming out of ICPD, which this year will also turn 20. A lot has happened since the adoption of the Beijing Declaration and the Platform for Action, and yet not a single country has achieved gender equality. That is why in 2020, we are calling for civil society to work together with government, but to lead a process, if I may emphasize, that must galvanize even a faster pace towards gender equality. And we are convening two forums called Generation Equality. One forum will be in Mexico, where we will look at how we can ensure that the gaps that we are looking at that are delaying gender equality can be closed by us working together in a consolidated way, forming what we call action coalitions, through which we must deliver significant change. In Mexico, in May, between the 7th and the 8th of May 2020, we will be deliberating about how and what these coalitions can work. And then we will facilitate further consultation around the world with civil society and of course with other partners in order to make sure that we all can endorse these action coalition and the issues that we are choosing as the issues that are the real pillars of patriarchy and the issues that at this point of our struggle are really standing in front of us and making it difficult for us to move forward. We will then congregate again in July from the 7th and the 10th of July in Paris, in France, in order to then announce the completion of this process of forming these action coalition, which will combine what is outstanding work in the implementation of the Beijing platform, and also what needs to be done in order for us to realize the vision 2030 that the SDGs are supposed to facilitate. We're going to need you to contribute to this so that this is meaningful. We're going to need you to make sure that together we identify what success should look like, especially between 2020 and 2025, where we want these coalitions to really push and accelerate the change that is otherwise very slow and very uneven. But we must also say, since Beijing, so many of you did so much work, and that is why today we are able to even stand on our 2 feet, stand on the shoulder of many of you and look at the future that we want. We expect that coming out of Paris is going to be a more formidable fight to end violence against women, to address harmful cultural practice that impact on women and girls, to address the exclusion of women in leadership and to promote effective participation, to address the issue and the burden of care that impacts on so many women in all parts of the world, to also address the issues of women, peace and security. So these are some of the issues that we expect will come out of these discussions that we are having and the discussions that you are having right now in this dialogue. In Africa, the African Women's Leadership Network is another platform for us to discuss and to dialogue with one voice so that when we go back to our countries, we have the same messages that we can give to our governments. So we look forward to the deliberations that you are having. We look forward to see you in CSW, where we will also be discussing Beijing 25 and all the other anniversary. We also look forward to see you in Mexico and in France, but also in Africa. Because Generation Equality Forum will be in Mexico and in France, we are also creating opportunity for satellite events in Africa and in Asia specifically. One in South Africa and one in Senegal for Africa, where you can also congregate at the same time as when the forum will be taking place in Paris, in order to also galvanize the support in Africa. We ask you to watch the space as we share the details of how we could make sure that those of you who will not go to Paris are also able to meet in Africa. But of course, we expect many of you to come to Paris as well as to go to Mexico. And especially we want and we need young people to come, to be visible, to participate, and that way we create a new generation of activists who are just as strong and sometimes stronger than what we have been in the last 25 years. Thank you very much and all the best for the dialogue.
So, who's going to Mexico? Woo! So how do you say hi in Mexico? They speak.
Well, there you have it. The head of the United Nations Women, also former Deputy President of South Africa, Phumzile Mlambo-Ngcuka, they're doing sterling work at the UN Women, dare I say, talking about conferences that will be held next year called Generation Equality, saying it's taken too long since the Beijing Declaration for Equality to materialize in the world. So they're taking the bull by its horns and making sure this happens. One will be in France, in Paris, another one will be in Mexico, and also spring off ones in Senegal and South Africa. So some conversations there to look forward to in the name of equality. You're watching The Agenda. It's the top of the hour.